Good morning, children. How are you? Hello, Suryansh. Hi, Suryansh. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. How are you, Suryansh?
Ma'am, I'm fine.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Daksh. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. Let everyone join in. We have to finish off our chapter. I think we are left with the last question, right?
No, ma'am, we have done all.
We've done all.
Yes,
I am
ma'am.
good, Suryansh. Thank you for asking. So, our chapter is completed. We have
Yes,
to
ma'am.
begin.
So they will begin with history chapter.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. That's just wonderful. You know, this chapter which we're going to start today is indeed a very interesting chapter because you're going to have fun studying this chapter. Not fun as such, but yes, you'll have a lot of interest in studying this chapter because this chapter is going to talk about the religions which we are following today, the practices which we follow today. Okay, so this chapter is about all of them, so you can relate to it, and again, if we can relate, we can make it more interesting, right?
Ma'am, in geography, only one chapter is left.
Yes, only one chapter is left. Like we'll finish up now. We have to go a bit faster because we have more chapters in less time.
Ma'am.
Okay. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Okay. So as you know that the name of the chapter is religious ideas in the medieval period. We have already read about this. I've already explained you this.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Every one of you. Very good morning to each and every one of you. So as I have already told you and explained you in properly that in class 7, we read about the medieval history, right?
Medieval.
Okay.
Ma'am, in 8th, ma'am, modern. In
In
6th, we have learned
8
ancient.
onwards, 8, 9,
In
10,
9th, ma'am, world.
modern and world history, right? So that's what we are reading. That is why we have talked about the towns in the medieval era. We have talked about various things in the medieval era. Now we are going to talk about the religious ideas. What sort of religions people followed in the medieval era, right? So here we'll talk about the birth of the great Sant Kabir. We'll talk about the another great religious leader, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. We'll talk about how Vasco da Gama, when did he come to India? Then Saint Francis came to India. Saint Francis was the Xavier was the person who brought Christianity to India, right? And then how Sikhism was formed, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji was accepted as the ultimate Guru of Sikhism. So these are the all things we are going to talk about in this chapter. It's going to be very interesting. The only requirement is that you have to take interest, right, children? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. With our interest only. If we are going to take interest in a chapter,
Ma'am, we will learn about Bhakti movement also in detail.
exactly. We'll realize that okay, all the practices which we are following, how many of them are bogus, how many of them are actually relevant, and we should actually do that. Whether spending a lot of money in the temples in the name of God is right thing to do or not, whether we should focus on helping others, or we should prioritize idol worship, or we should worship by heart. What all are these things? We'll just get to know that, and we'll get a very good conclusion by the end of the chapter. Okay, children? A very interesting chapter.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So let's get started. Krishna, the first religious ideas which we are going to begin with the chapter is with Sufism. Have you heard the term Sufism ever before, kids?
No, ma'am.
No. Haven't you seen Jodha Akbar? Haven't you seen those dances which to do?
Ma'am, in chapter 1, we have learned.
We have learned, you have also, Krishna, don't draw anything on the screen. You have also learned about Sufism of
Sorry.
class 6th as well. Okay, have you heard those songs like Kun Faya Kun and Mola Mere, something like that, Khwaja Mere Khwaja? Yes,
ma'am.
you have seen those people wearing those long caps, white kurtas, and just dancing on the beach and remembering God. Have you seen that? Right? So that's what we talk about, and that's what Sufism, like it's not only dance is about, like those people are Sufis only, whose dances you have seen, right? So let's begin with what Sufism is. It's again a religious idea, religious culture. Okay, Krishna, begin reading.
Okay, ma'am. The term Sufi derived from the Arabic word Suf, which means wool. Some scholars are opinion that word Sufi is derived from the word Safa, which means a purity. Sufism is a mystical tradition of Islam. Islam. It was a reform movement with Islam which an emphasis on love and compassion towards all human beings. The Sufis rejected the
Elaborate.
e- elaborate
Elaborate.
rituals and
Rituals.
codes of the
Exact.
conduct
Codes of conduct.
codes of conduct and prescribed from the Muslims.
For
It
the Muslims.
emphasizes on the person
Right for the Muslims. Read slowly, read properly.
for the Muslim. Okay, ma'am. It emphasizes on the personal devotion and love for God. The followers of Sufism followed by the Sufi path called Tariqa under the guidance of the Pir.
Guidance. Guidance,
The
not guidance.
guidance of the Pir.
Guidance of the P.
The, the hospice or
Khan.
was the center of Khanqa was the centers of activities of Sufi order. It was a place where the Pir
Pir. Pirates.
imperated.
Pir Baba. You have heard?
Oh yes, ma'am. Pir
Hmm.
imperated spiritual
Spiritual.
training to
Imparted. Listen to me. Imparted spiritual training. Yes. Say it again.
the disciples or
To his
murids.
disciples. Read it again from here. It was. Read it again from it was. It is. It was a place where the Pir imparted spiritual training to his disciples or murads or murids.
Yes, ma'am.
Read.
Ma'am, from ma'am, it was a place where the peer imparted spirituals
spiritual
training,
spiritual
spirituals training to the disciples or disciples or murids. This Khankas were supported by the
endowment
endowment and a charity.
charity.
Endowment and a charity.
Stop here, Krishna. So, children, as he read,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
got to know the term Sufi is derived from Arabic word suf. And what is the meaning of this word? The meaning of this word is wool.
Ma'am, wool
Suf.
that we wear in
Ma'am,
winter.
wool.
Right now, we all are wearing woolen clothes, right? All of us.
Ma'am,
So
No, I don't.
some scholars believe that Sufi is derived from the word safa, which means purity. But हालांकि सब कुछ लोगों का मानना था that Sufi is not derived from suf. It has been derived from the word safa, which meaning is purity. And actually, even I believe the same. I believe Sufi has been believed from the word safa because Sufism is a very pure form of practicing religion. Okay, practicing Islam. Sufism is a mystic tradition of Islam, right? Sufism is a tradition of Islam. It is a part of the Islamic culture.
Islam.
You all know that, kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it was a reform movement. There's a term where they have given reform. So what do we mean by this term reform? What is this reform movement? Tell me. Reform.
Ma'am, Sudhar.
Yes, good. Reform means changes. Whenever you're trying to bring any change in the society, that's known as reforming the society. The people who do that are known as reformers, right?
We have learned in ma'am civics.
Yeah. So it was a reform movement within Islam. Islam के अंदर अपने religion में ही इन्होंने एक reform movement start की. जैसे कि we have talked about Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Who was he? Raja Ram Mohan Roy was a
social reformer.
very good
Ma'am,
Suryansh.
reformer.
He was a social reformer. Why we call him a social reformer? Because he brought changes in Hinduism. He stopped practices like Sati Pratha. Right? He fought against child marriage. Okay. So similarly, these Sufis brought a reformation movement within Islam with an emphasis on love and compassion towards all human beings. They believed, they focused, emphasis means they laid importance that we must love and we must have a feeling of compassion towards all the human beings. What's the meaning of compassion, children?
Compare.
No. Feeling of honor, a feeling of respect, right? Such kinds of feelings. Okay. So, the Sufis rejected the elaborate rituals and codes of conduct prescribed for the Muslims. Sufis ने जो elaborate rituals and code of conduct उनको सबको मना किया कि no, in order to praise God, to preach Allah, we don't need to do that. And that is what we must believe in, that God never asked us to do all the expensive rituals, to do all those things to impress Him. No, that's not what God requires, right? This and they emphasized on personal devotion and love for God. They said that if you love God, do it personally, do it spiritually. We don't need to spend a lot of money to showcase that. Haven't you seen that nowadays also it is a trend that people tries to show that, oh, we are a very big devotee.
Ma'am, they built the temple.
Yes, ma'am.
Like the government is doing.
They give huge donations, right? And all these things.
Ma'am.
But if somebody will ask them to help the poor people, then they'll not do that, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am, like
Yes,
government
ma'am.
is doing.
So what do you think? The government is not doing that. Okay, government is helping the people out.
Ma'am,
Okay, so if I ask you children, I'm asking you a question that if what do you think? God is going to be happy if we are making a gold, if we're giving them a lot of a blanket of gold to God, God will be happy with that. Or if we are giving blankets
no, ma'am.
poor people who are shivering in the cold on the streets, what God is going to be happy with?
Ma'am, second
Ma'am,
option.
ma'am, second option. Pay
Very
poor people if we are giving food and clothes to them.
Well then, that's what God is going to be happy with. God doesn't want luxuries, right? No, God has never asked for luxuries. It's just the man who has done that. So that's what the Sufis say. That the followers of Sufism follow Sufi path called Tariqa under the guidance of the Peer. Like these people. So like Sikh people has Babas, like in Hindus also they have no Pandits and Babas and this and that. So these Islamic people, they had Peer Baba. Like you have heard the name, these names you must have come across, Peer Baba, right? They used to be religious.
Ma'am, who is Peer Baba?
A religious head who used to tell them that what is the right path they should follow, right? Peer Baba, you can say, religious head. So the Sufi path called Tariqa was followed under the guidance of the Peer. The hospice of Khanqa was the center of the activities of Sufi order. Khanqa is a place where the Sufis used to live, and all such activities used to take place there only. Okay. Oh,
Ma'am.
I need to just stop the share.
When it stop share.
I have to stop that because it was just hanging in between. It hanged for a minute. Yeah. Okay, right, kids? So yes, the Khanqa was the center of the activities of the Sufi order. Okay, it was the place where the Peer imparted spiritual training to his disciples. Disciples कौन होता है? Who are disciples? Right now, you people are my disciples.
Ma'am, students of guru, teacher.
Guru,
like guru and
Shishya, Guru ke chele jaise hote hain, right? So they taught the spiritual training to his disciples or murids. जैसे Hindi term or Islamic term for the disciples is murid. That ये उनके मुरीद हैं, बहुत पसंद करते हैं, उनके ही कदमों पे चलते हैं, right? That's what it is. These khanqahs were supported by endowment and charity, right? So like the people, like the kings and all, they used to give charity to these khanqahs. And that's how they used to run their daily expenses, right? The early Sufi saint settled in India was Al-Hujiri. Who was the first Sufi saint settled in India?
Al-Bujiri.
Okay, Al-Hujiri. Al-Hujiri was the author of Kashf Mahbub, a famous Persian treatise on Sufis. A treatise means a famous Persian book on Sufis in which you can get a lot of information regarding Sufi order, right?
Ma'am, the question can come.
Exactly, question can come. Very good, Daksh. You know, kids, you need to have this presence of mind now onwards, and whenever you're reading a book, you must be having that presence of mind, and you yourself can decide, okay, this is an important part, question can come from here. That is why we underline, right? Why do we underline while reading? We underline the important points. The points, if you think, okay, this is an important point, a question can be framed for here. That's how we make notes, and that's how we underline topics. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Kids, I told you regarding
Ma'am.
those people, no, of these Mola, Mere Mola, and such sort of songs. You might have seen say these kind of people wearing such kind of dresses, which you can see in this picture.
Ma'am, these are in Rajasthan also.
Have you seen such people wearing these kind of attire and performing in songs?
No, ma'am.
Haven't you seen the song Khwaja Mere Khwaja? Watch it today.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, Akbar, there's a movie called
No,
Jodha.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Watch it today. You'll see it.
Ma'am, I have listened.
What, beta?
Ma'am, I have listened the song Khwaja Mere Khwaja.
Ibad has listened. See. Okay, so you'll get to know. You get to see. Okay, these are what Sufis are like. So, what is a Sufi silsila? A number of Sufi silsilas became popular in India during the Sultanate period. What do you mean by Sultanate period? I think you have read about it.
Ma'am, Delhi Sultanate, the 5 dynasties will come.
Okay. So during the Sultanate
Ma'am,
period,
first was slave, second was Khalji, third was Tughlaq, and fourth was Sayyid, fifth was Lodi.
well done, Daksh. Okay. So Shan, sit straight, beta. You have backing otherwise. So now what is the Sufi silsila? A number of Sufi silsilas became popular in India during the Sultanate period, and the chief among them were the Suharwadi and the Chishti silsila. Have you heard of the Chishti somewhere else as well?
No, ma'am.
No.
Yes,
Ibad?
yes, ma'am.
Is something related to this Chishti?
Ma'am, Moinuddin Chishti.
They're very good at Utkarsh. Moinuddin Chishti Dargah. It's very famous.
Ma'am.
Okay. So these two silsilas are very popular, or the main among the Sufi silsilas. What were these silsilas? Now the Suharwadi silsila was a major order of the Sultanate period. And its founder in India was Sheikh Bahauddin Zakaria. And one of the oldest khanqahs in India was established by him at Multan. Okay. Where was the oldest khanqah of India established? It was settled in Multan by Sheikh Bahauddin Zakaria. During the Sultanate period, Punjab, Sindh, and Bengal became the three important centers of the silsila. Right? These are the three important places where the silsila were conducted. Now, the next I have talked about the Chishti silsila. So this silsila was introduced in India by Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti. Abhi we discussed this name, right, kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, which name?
Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I am highlighting the points.
Very good, well done. Right? So he was the first person to introduce the Chishti silsila in India. He came to India at the time of Ghori conquest and finally settled in Ajmer. That is why you said no, Daksh said no, that we find such people in Rajasthan as well.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
Amma.
ma'am.
Ma'am, when there were some 2 to 3 days holiday. Ma'am, I have gone to ma'am Ajmer, and ma'am, there was the Khwaja there, and it was one of the Chishti silsila, ma'am.
Right. There are many dargahs in India we have, no, which have been made during the period of the Sufi.
Ajmer is one of the oldest of the Mughals time.
Right, indeed it is, right? So he came at the time of Ghori conquest and finally settled in Ajmer. He won the respect of both Muslims and non-Muslims. See, this was the, Abhi, you'll just realize, you'll read about the beauty of these cultures. Right now, people are fighting amongst each other on the basis of religions. I am Hindu, you are Muslim, he is Sikh, I am Christian. They're fighting amongst each other, but it was not like that in the medieval era. People were living very happily and together. Like if we'll talk about Kabir Das, Kabir, nobody know who he actually is. Some says he was a Muslim.
Ma'am, someone mic is open.
Hanji?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, someone mic is open.
Ma'am,
Athar,
Yes, ma'am.
ask you the
अरे mic.
सुबह
Athar, mute the mic.
okay, right? So yeah. So you see that it was
Ma'am,
not,
yes, ma'am.
it was not only the Muslims who were very ardent followers of Sufism. Sufism became popular, and these people, leaders like Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti, they won the hearts of the respect of both Muslims and non-Muslims. Right? His tomb at Ajmer became a famous center of pilgrimage in the later centuries. We have read about the term pilgrimage. You all know what this term means,
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes,
Tirath
ma'am.
Yatra.
Pilgrimage town.
right? Okay. So people used to go there to visit this and to get the
Temple town.
whatever they wanted, right? The
Yes,
Chishti
yes.
rituals, attitudes, and practices made it essentially Indian silsila, right? So rituals, attitudes, or practices they were doing. So it became an Indian silsila now, not a Persian anymore. They treated the rich and the poor alike. There was no differentiation like, okay, if you are a rich person, the Sufis are going to treat you in a better manner, and if you're a poor person, then they'll not treat you with respect. Not at all. It was nothing like that. And they also adopted an attitude of religious tolerance towards the non-Muslim population of India. Along with that, one of the major elements, a very important part of it is that they did not tell people that no, if you're a non-Muslim, you're not allowed to enter this silsila or this dargah. No. All the people, even today, you might have seen like there are many famous dargahs at Ajmer and all in Mumbai as well. And it's not only the Muslims who go there. No, people of all religions, Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs,
Ma'am, like Taj Mahal.
like Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is not basically a religious dargah, basically. But yeah, the dargah which we're talking about, this Chishti, Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti Dargah, and there's one more dargah in Mumbai. I'm just forgetting the name of that. So these dargahs are very happily visited by many people. There's a Khwaja, like there's a Khanka near my house as well. So and all the people go there. It's not only the Muslims who go. All sorts of people of all religion they go there, right? So yes,
In ma'am, Uttar Pradesh also there is also the
yeah,
Dargah.
there are dargahs, many there. Okay. So the other Sufi silsilas were Firdausi, Kadri, Shatari, and Kalandri. Is it clear, children?
Ma'am, what are the other Sufi silsilas? So we will write this.
Exactly. Very good, Daksh. If the question comes, what were the other Sufi silsilas? Then you're going to write this. Okay? Clear? Shall we move forward?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what were the features of Sufism? See, this is a very important point. Again, direct question going to come on this. Like mention the features
What are
of
the
Yes,
features?
ma'am.
Sufi, right? So the first feature is
Yes,
that the Sufis express their love towards God, not through elaborate rituals. No, they did not ask you to spend a lot of money to showcase your love. No, they showed it through music, poetry, and prose. Prose means what? Did they teach chapters to others? How did they show their love through prose, children?
Ma'am, what?
How did the Sufis show their love through prose? Yes, Aman?
ma'am, ma'am, at the Durga, ma'am, there are walls, ma'am, where they
They
tie
wrote stories,
the
right?
roses.
Basically, yes. Prose basically means they also encourage people to, they also express their love towards God through stories, right? And all. Then Sufism was organized into various orders or silsilas, right? A peer guru guided and instructed their disciples on the path of Sufism. Like there was a guru, there was a leader who showed them the right path which they have to follow, which helped them from diverting to the wrong, not diverting towards the wrong path, and they showed them that this is the right path which we must follow. Right, Hamad? Next is what is also Khanka. A Khanka was the center of the activities of a Sufi order. It was the place where the Peer imparted spiritual training to his disciples. The place is
Ma'am, in points also questions are framing.
exactly. So if the question comes, what are the features of Sufism? And these are the 4 points which you will be mentioning. All clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, if it comes in 1 mark,
Yes, ma'am.
In 1 mark, if they ask you any one feature, then you can give any one feature of all this.
Ma'am, it easy chapter.
interesting as well, beta. We will have more interest.
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
it can come also in fill in
Ma'am,
the
next is also very important. What are the roles of Sufism?
Yes. Next is role of Sufism. What role Sufism has played? So, children,
Ma'am.
Sufism has played a very important role in society. The Chishti saints helped creating
Ma'am, economic.
a situation, okay, in which people belonging to different classes and different religious communities could live in harmony. They taught religious tolerance. They taught people that no, they treated rich and poor, everybody alike. That's why they created such a situation where the rich, poor, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, all of them could live together. That
Ma'am, which points we can under
harmony.
highlight?
Yes, beta, the ones which I'm underlining. Yes, Aman.
Ma'am, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai.
What, Aman?
Ma'am, what does harmony mean?
Happily without fighting. Whose mic is on?
Ma'am, I. Ma'am, Krishna.
Ma'am, it was
Ma'am, I.
Yes, Ibad.
मैम हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई सब हैं भाई.
Yes. Good. Okay. So the Khankas helped promote peace and harmony. The dargahs of the Sufi saints became pilgrim centers for the people of all castes and religion. It was not like it was only the Muslims or only the Islamic people who were going there. The people belonging to all Hamad sit straight. Sit properly, Hamad. There's a class. And please make a proper distance to the camera, kids. Otherwise, your eyes will just burst.
Ma'am, one point we can write that they belong to different classes and religions communities could live in harmony.
They belong, they taught.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, or they
point is-
encourage. That also can be written. The Khankas also played an economic role. How did they take an economic? How did they play an economic role, kids? So they played an economic role that they took the cultivation of the wastelands, like the wastelands which were just they're laying there like that only. They started doing cultivation on those wastelands. Others were involved in the constructions of buildings, both of religious characters and public utility. It was not like they only built the temples or sorry, they only built the mosques or something like that. No, the Khankas also paid a lot of you can say attention and time and money in building buildings of religious character and public utility. Some buildings which the public can utilize, like rest houses, something like that. They also planted gardens. The institution of the Khanka played an important role in the process of urbanization. The annual Urs. Urs, you know what is Urs? There's a festival you might have heard of,
Ors, what is?
Yes, ma'am.
right? There's a festival called Urs, a Muslim festival.
Ursa.
Yes, Ibad, tell us about Urs.
Ma'am, it is the Mela.
Yes, basically there's a festival. I think it goes on for a couple of days, right? It's a festival commemorating the death of a spiritual master, gave impetus to trade, commerce, and production of local handicrafts. Basically, during the Urs, he's absolutely right about saying the right thing. That various fairs are conducted in those localities, and obviously, if a fair has been conducted, then people come, they set up their shops, and the other people who came there, they buy things, and they can give a boost to the economy. Yes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
One by one. Yes, Ibad, are you saying something?
Ma'am, in my colony, on 21 January, there was Urs Mela.
Oh, Urs were here on 21st
Yes,
January.
ma'am, because there is one dargah.
Yeah, there's a dargah near my house as well. They also used to have these Urs, but abhi there were no Urs. Maybe there were.
In our area, there are.
Okay. Fine.
Ma'am,
Hanji.
Ma'am, 1 point we've marked, but the other point can what?
I couldn't understand what you're trying to say, Daksh.
Like 1 point we have marked, so other points can what?
What other points you can mark regarding, okay, what importance the Sufis has played? See, 1 point can be they created a situation in which people belong to different classes, communities, and religious communities could live together, right? Then the dargahs of the Sufi, like the khanqahs, promote peace and harmony. The dargahs became pilgrim centers of all people of all the castes and religions, right? And they also played an economic role. These 4 points you can write.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And in the last point, they
Yes,
also have
ma'am.
the economic goal. You can simply write that the annual Urza festival of commemorating the death of spiritual master, giving features to trade, commerce, and production of local handicrafts. Yeah,
Okay, ma'am.
right. So, children, is this concept about Sufism is clear? Now, if I ask you to write a note on Sufism, will you be able to write? You have understood it well.
Ma'am.
I'm giving you a minute.
Yes,
Ma'am.
ma'am.
Quickly, I'm giving you a minute. Quickly go through it and ask me if you have any doubt. Go through it once quickly,
Okay, ma'am.
and then I'll start with the
Ma'am, another point is they also played an economic role. Khankas.
yeah, that we have mentioned. No, I said that.
6 points are there.
Ma'am, what is meaning of mystic?
Yes,
Ma'am, what is meaning of mystic?
mystic, religiously related to religion, religioustic. If there's any doubt, please let me know. Shall we begin with the Bhakti movement kids now?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
If you need more time to discuss to read it, you can go through it, and even after, like, you can go. I'll request you one thing, that please just do me a favor. Whatever I'm teaching you every day, just read that much only. Don't do anything more than that. Just read that much the same day, and then
Ma'am,
you.
I have highlighted today's most point.
Very good.
Ma'am,
So let's get started with the Bhakti movement. As we have left in 6 minutes.
ma'am,
Ma'am.
Yes.
ma'am,
Ma'am, I
Ma'am,
revised
can I read
everything, ma'am,
Bhakti
at
movement?
7 o'clock.
Very good, Krishna. Hanji.
ma'am,
Can I read Bhakti movement?
Okay. Vivag is asking something. Just wait, give me a moment. Yes, Vivag.
ma'am, uh, nowadays is very sunny.
What, Vivag? What did he say?
Ma'am, very sunny days.
Today is sunny day. I cannot
No,
say.
मैम बहुत धूप निकल रही है मैम अब तो रोज
Ma'am, today's is not.
There is no sun. Yeah. It's very foggy.
Yes,
मैम
ma'am.
today is also मैम in Google
No.
there is showing
No.
at
Arey.
12
But just do not divert from the topic. Let's come back to the Bhakti movement. Yes, Daksh, read it.
In South India, the Shaiva Nayanar saints and Vaishnava Alva saints played an important role in spreading the doctrine of bhakti among different sections of the society. Many of these saints come from the lower castes
Came
and
from.
some were women. They spread their message and composed their songs in Tamil and North Sanskrit. All these gave the bhakti movement of a popular character.
Yes, children, like in the last line, the spelling of Bhakti is wrong, right? You can correct that. They have written Bhakti movement.
Bhakti.
Right? So yeah. So children, like who were these Nayanas and Alvars? Now you'll get to know. In South India, there were the Shaiva Nayana saints and the Vaishnava Alvar saints. Basically, the Nayanas were the devotees of Lord Shiva, and the Alvars were the devotees of Lord Vishnu. You can write it down with the help of a pencil in your book to just to
Yeah, ma'am.
remember it. Right? The Nayanas were the devotees of Lord Shiva, and the Alvars were the devotees of Lord Vaishnav. Okay. So, in South India, these saints have played an important role in spreading the doctrine of bhakti among different sections of the society. Right? Okay. Now, many of these saints
Yes, ma'am.
are lower caste and some are women as well. Okay. Now, this is a very ironic thing. As we have read about the Varna system, we have seen that all the importance were only given to whom? The which
Varna.
Hindu.
the Brahmins.
Hindu.
Beta, the Varna system was a system of Hindus only, and the Varna society was divided into 4 Varnas: Brahmin, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and the 4th one, Shudras. Children, this is
Okay, ma'am.
please do not forget it. Right?
Ma'am, where it is written the 4?
It is not given in this book. You must have read this in class 6th. Okay? Regarding the 4
Ma'am, Brahmin, Vaishnav, and
the Samved and
Shai-
these were the Vedas. Right? There were 4 Vedas as well. Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda, and
Yes.
Samved. These were the 4 religious books. The Vedas were the religious books of Hindus. The first book, which was the
Yes, ma'am, we have learned.
The Rig Veda has, in the Rig Veda, it was mentioned that the society was divided into 4 Varnas. Which 4 Varnas? Brahmins?
Brahmin, Vaishnavas, Nayanar,
No,
and
Nayanas.
Rudra.
No. Brahmins, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Okay.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
were the 4? Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras.
Yes,
Brahmins are
Shudra.
the pandits, okay, the priests, and our Kshatriyas refers to the kings and the warriors. Vaishyas refers to the traders, craftsmen, and Shudras refer to the lower class, like the people who are involved in the work like cleaning roads, landless laborers, okay, the Das and the Dasis. They were termed as Shudras. So in the previous in ancient India, the thing was that the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas were given the priority, and the lower class were being treated discriminated. Okay, but a very strange thing came during the Bhakti movement, that people from those lower sections, the lower castes, came and became the religious heads, right? The saints. And they spread the message and composed their songs in Tamil and not in Sanskrit. Why? Because they were from the southern India. And as you know, in southern India, people were not familiar with Sanskrit, neither with Hindi. So that's
Ma'am,
what
but in South, there are they know Sanskrit also.
who beta?
I mean, southern part they know Sanskrit also. The people.
Few of them know, but if Sanskrit, Sanskrit was not a very popular language. Sanskrit was a language which only the higher section of society knew and were well versed with. The localites were not well versed with that language, right? That was the reason. No, that was the reason why Buddha preached in Pali, and that's why like Mahavira preached in Prakrit, right? The reason these people use the local languages of the people, because if you want somebody to understand something right now, I also teach you people in English, but at times I also come down to Hindi, to explain you some particular topics. Why?
Ma'am, Dravid hai na.
Why do I come from English to Hindi? Because I want you to understand what I'm trying to tell you. If I'll keep on teaching you in French and you don't know what is French, you don't understand French, then my teachings are all useless. You won't understand it at all.
Yes, ma'am.
That is why it is important to if you want to teach people something, it is important to use their language. Only then they will be able to understand it, right? So all these give the a popular character.
Ma'am, in this, ma'am, what we can highlight?
In this you can highlight about the Nayanas and the Alvars. Baki I'll highlight it tomorrow. The meeting is about to end now. Okay. So I'm just telling
Bye,
you.
ma'am.
They also use Dravid hai na.
Dravidians it is.